welcome back to 31 Nights of Horror. Today I'll be sharing with you guys my fall movie watch list as well as my fall reading list. I have never made a video like this where I actually talk to you guys about what I plan on watching during the month, but I think this will be fun and also giving you guys inspiration on what you can watch this fall season. I'm coming on here to just do this intro because I actually already filmed this video. I filmed it a couple of weeks back before I had my entire fall decorations up, so I just want to give you guys a fair warning. There's going to be a pretty harsh cut to a whole entire different background basically. Believe it or not, I have never really curated a fall watch list in my life. I sort of just watch movies whenever I want and just don't pre-plan it. And even though I still don't think this is really a plan because I'm gonna mostly just be rewatching movies that I love and things like that, I decided it would be kind of cool to make a list of movies that if I don't know what I'm gonna watch, I'll pull from this list, because that's kind of what I always do with books. I always make a pretty big fall horror Halloween reading list, and then whenever I'm in the mood to read a book, I'll pull from that list. I thought it was time that I do this for movies because I've seriously never done it before and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, in this list, I'm not going to be mentioning movies that I plan on rewatching. The movies that I'm going to talk about are movies that I actually haven't seen, and that's the reason I wanted to make this, to kind of let you guys know what I plan on watching, see if we're going to be watching some similar movies and stuff like that. And in my typical fashion, most of the movies on this list are horror movies, but I am going to start with the ones that aren't necessarily fully horror movies today. So the first movie on this list is Dead Poets Society. Really, the reason it's on this list is because I'll talk about a book that I'm reading at the end of this video that I feel like the vibes are going to be very similar because it's in fall, it's academia, and usually academia reminds me of fall season and the fall leaves and all of that. This is a movie that I've just been wanting to watch in general for a really long time, so I told myself this will be the time that I'll be watching it. I don't necessarily know what it's about actually, even though it's a very popular movie, I don't know exactly what the plot synopsis is or any of that. I just know Robin Williams is in it and he's honestly one of my favorite actors. I have loved so many movies that he's in and I'm just really excited to watch it. I'm gonna be watching this one very soon, and maybe I'll make a video and give you guys my thoughts on it, but really excited to watch Dead Poets Society. I feel like this is one of those movies that has been on my watch list for ages and I'm just excited to check it out. Then the next movie on my fall watch list is Practical Magic, and my friends love this movie and I've just heard really great things from it in general, and this is one where I think will definitely get me in the fall mood because it's about witches and just in general witchy vibe movies are up my alley. I really love watching those and I feel like it'll just really set the mood and I'm just excited to check it out. Again, I don't really know the plot of this movie. This is probably gonna be a reoccurring theme in this video. A lot of these movies I've just heard really good things about, but I don't actually know exactly what they're about, but that makes it a funner experience because then I'm watching it and I'm surprised. I know Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are in it, so we have big stars in this movie and I think it's just gonna be really aesthetic, and it's actually been a while since I've seen some magic related movie, especially with witches, so I'm honestly very excited to check this one out. A good way to segue into the horror movies of this list, because this one's sort of a thriller, I believe, is Clue, and I really like the game Clue and I really like murder mysteries or just mysteries in general, and I'm really interested to see how this movie is because from what I've heard of it, it just sounds really interesting, and being such a big fan of the actual board game Clue, I'm excited to play along with these characters in the actual movie, because the whole idea of the board game Clue is really fun, that you have a set group of people that are the suspects, you have a set group of weapons, set locations, and I know the movie sort of follows that same format. I love murder mysteries because I love trying to solve it with the characters, and then I especially love it if I'm wrong and there's a big twist in the movie. Now we're gonna get into only horror movies. The rest of the movies that I plan on watching that I haven't seen before are horror movies, and the first one that I kind of want to talk about is I want to watch the Universal Monsters movies, and this one is kind of vague. I don't have a specific list of ones I want to watch, but I recently went to Halloween Horror Nights and they had a Universal Monsters house, and that house was one of my favorites. It was extremely cool, from a visual standpoint, and the set design. The scares in that house were also really fun, but it just kind of got me thinking, I want to watch more Universal Monsters movies. I've only ever seen Frankenstein and I loved that movie, and I remember when I watched it I was like, I want to watch more of these classic monster movies because they're really good. And just going to Horror Nights, seeing the house, doing all of that, I'm like, I really want to get through them. And some of the ones that I want to watch Phantom of the Opera, because if you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of Phantom of the Opera, like the Broadway musical. Really big fan of the movie with Patrick Wilson and Emmy Rossum. I know not everybody loves that movie, but that's just like, I don't know, it's just like an all-time favorite of mine. But I want to get through, so the Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, The Invisible Man, and we'll see if like I get through any more, but I think those are the ones that I want to start with because they're the ones that I think are the most famous or like come to mind quicker. Classic horror is sometimes a hit or a miss for me. Like, I think you either really like them or you don't like them. If they're anything like how Frankenstein is, I think I'm gonna pretty much enjoy it. Then I want to watch the Final Destination movies. I've only ever seen the first 2 movies. The second one, I barely remember what happens, so I probably would rewatch it, but Final Destination is one of, in my opinion, like the most entertaining horror movies ever. I love watching that movie, and I just love the topic of the movie in general, and it's pretty freaky, but like it's very entertaining and fun at the same time. Like, yes, you're getting scared because the idea of death looming around is scary, and also the way these people are dying is like sometimes scary, but I don't know, it's like so much fun for me in a weird way, and I know that probably sounds horrible to say that, but like Final Destination to me is one of the funnest movies. Like, I think it's a very easy movie to watch, and in general, like, I just want to watch franchise because I've never seen the franchise before, and I want to change that this fall. I usually have tried to watch some sort of like horror franchise or Halloween franchise almost every single year, at least since I've been on YouTube, so I think this will be the one for this year. So I'm just super excited about that, because even though they're probably going to be bad, because as us horror fans know, or most people know, usually if a horror franchise goes longer than like 3 movies, or sometimes just if they just go long in general, the movies are just usually really bad and they're made for cash grabs, and it's just atrocious to watch. But I don't care. I've seen the entirety of Halloween, and I've had to endure bad horror movies in my life, so I'm just gonna watch these. I think the next movie that I really want to watch, it might be one of the last slashers that I've never seen, like a really famous one, and it is Jeepers Creepers. I only plan on watching like the first one, maybe the second one. I haven't heard much of like the other movies, which leads me to believe they're probably bad, but I just want to watch Jeepers Creepers. Like, this is another one where I fully like don't know what it's about. I just know it's a slasher movie, and obviously they're being like attacked by some sort of like thing. I don't even know what the thing really fully is. It's one of those that I've wanted to see for a while, but again, I just have never watched it. But this Halloween, I will be watching Jeepers Creepers. Then I want to watch Evil Dead 2016. I said I was gonna watch it when Evil Dead Rise came out. I never watched it, but it's the only Evil Dead movie that I'm missing. I'm a pretty big fan of Evil Dead. Like, it's not my favorite franchise in the world, but I just like the Evil Dead movies. Hold me accountable, guys, when I say that I will be watching Evil Dead, because I think I said it in a prior video before and I just never watched it, but like I will be watching it now because it's time to be spooky. It's the spooky season. Like, I need to watch some gory horror, and I feel like that this will probably be the goriest horror movie that I'll be watching. The next movie that I really want to watch, I actually almost watched it the other day, and the reason it's on this list is because I saw that it was on HBO Max, and it's Children of the Corn, and I believe the version that was on HBO Max is the one from the 80s. And I want to watch this. It's a Stephen King adaptation, and I like Stephen King stories. I've seen a lot of Stephen King adaptations, and this is one of those that is relatively famous and I haven't seen. Again, I don't know anything about it. I assume it's something about like evil children, but I don't know much about it. But I almost watched it the other day. I was scrolling, I was going through HBO Max in the horror movie section, and I saw Children of the Corn, and I almost watched it, but I didn't. And instead I just ended up watching the Lord of the Rings movies, which I was very happy about. But I will be watching Children of the Corn. It looks interesting. I don't know if it's any good, actually. I haven't heard anything, or like I don't remember hearing positive or negative reviews, so I'll just watch it and figure out how I feel about it. And the last movie on this list that I want to watch, I've wanted to watch for a really long time, and mostly I don't even know how much of a horror movie it is. I don't know too much about it, but mostly it's because of the aesthetics, and it's The Love Witch. It just looks like a very pretty movie to watch. I don't know much of the plot other than like she wants to find love and she's a witch, but I do know there's like elements of murder and like those type of things in there. But if any of you guys have seen it or any of these movies on this list, let me know what you guys think of it. That does it for the movies that I plan on watching. Now, I do have a list of books that I want to talk about, and I'm gonna kind of do them briefly because I feel like this video is long enough already. The book that I was talking about that is the reason I want to watch Dead Poets Society is The Secret History, and I'm reading this book and I'm really enjoying it because at the beginning of the book you find out that this group of friends murdered one of their friends, and it's sort of like told backwards. I haven't gotten very far. I'm like still towards the beginning, but I'm enjoying it. It's a little hard to get into because I'm currently reading like a fantasy series at the same time, so kind of jumping genres may be a little too much for my brain to handle, but I'm gonna get through it. I'm planning on finishing it in this month, and yeah, this book is like dark academia vibes, so if you want to read fall, read this book. Then the other book that I'm reading is Belladonna, and this one is sort of like a young adult book, and it's basically about this girl who like can't die and she like has death looming around her, and it's pretty interesting so far. I'm enjoying it. And then I'm also in the process of reading A Dowry of Blood, which this book, I love it because it's super short, so I feel like it'll be a fast read. I started it last night and I'm already like almost halfway through the book, so I'm gonna probably finish this one really soon. But this one is about Dracula's first bride, and it's a really interesting story. And then these next books that I'll be showing you guys, I haven't started reading them, but I am planning on reading them during this fall season. And the first one that I really want to read after I finish these is The Exorcist. I've wanted to read this book for a really long time. If you guys don't know, The Exorcist is like one of my favorite horror movies, or one of my favorite movies in general, and I just want to get through the book. Usually the book is better, but I have such a like big love for the movie that I wonder if in this case the movie's gonna be better for me. And then I want to read The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is a short one, so I will definitely be reading this one. And I don't know, what else can I say? It's just a classic. It's just fall vibes. I want to read Pet Sematary. As you can see, I've started it, but this was like about a year ago. I started reading this on a plane for a summer vacation, which I feel like probably wasn't the vibe. I was really into it, but I just like didn't want to read it, but I definitely want to read it now. I love the Pet Sematary story, and I've heard really awesome things about this book. I just love Stephen King's writing style and his writing in general, so excited to read this book finally. And then this other book is The Housemaid. I've just heard a lot of things about it on TikTok. It's like a mystery thriller. I don't know anything about this other than I assume there's some sort of mystery with The Housemaid. And then this other book I know is dark academia vibes. I don't know much about it, but it's The Ninth House, and I don't know anything about it, but as you can see, Stephen King likes it. I know it's like fantasy, I'm pretty sure, and like academia, something like that, but yeah, I'm gonna try to read this one. And then this last one that I want to try to read is We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and I love when books are like this. I don't know if you can tell, but like the pages aren't all the same length, size, but I actually don't really like the movie, but I've heard good things from this book, and it's so short that like I might as well read it. But the movie that came out, I remember I just didn't like that movie. Like I thought it was so weird in like not a good way, but I'm hoping the book is a lot better. So yeah, now that you guys know my fall movie, my fall reading list, just get ready for me to throw my thoughts on these in future videos. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I'll make sure to catch you guys in the next 31 Nights of Horror episode. Bye everyone.